Hello, I'm David Groninger here in Seattle, Washington, and the title of this talk is The World's Most Valuable Resource, How to Tap Into It. The world's most valuable resource and how to tap into this valuable resource. So what do you think this most valuable resource in the world is? Is it gold, silver, oil, real estate, coal, the lumber from trees, the fish in the oceans, money, business ownership? Well, these things certainly have value, and many people spend a good deal of their lives developing the skills, training, and education in order to access this value for themselves and provide it for others. So these are certainly noteworthy representations of value. But in my opinion, the most valuable resource on earth is its people. It's 7 billion people. That is the biggest value on earth. The reason it's the biggest value, in my opinion, is because of, think about 7 billion people and all of their experience, their skills, their knowledge, their creativity, their ambition, their insights, their compassion, their love, all of the good energy, all of the future potential that's possible from the coordinated, combined efforts of 7 billion people. So that's why I think that the most valuable resource on our planet is its people. And because the most valuable resource is people, then the most valuable skills would be those skills that would be people skills, would be the skills that allow us to tap into the wisdom, knowledge, love, and compassion of the people. So there are people skills, and that is how to get along well and how to relate to other people. And this also includes you, because you are a people. I am a people too. So people skills also benefit our ability to get along with ourselves. Self-understanding, self-knowledge, the ability to control ourselves and to live with ourselves, to be compassionate and loving toward ourselves. So it's this developing skills in getting along and being effective with other people and getting along well with yourself. And if you were to invest your time, effort, resources into these skills, it's my opinion that you would not only be tapping into the world's greatest resource of all of the, the experience, skills, knowledge, and love, and compassion, and creativity of the people, but you will be also tapping in to the wherewithal and knowledge and coordination on how to get all of those other resources if you wanted them. The gold, the silver, the oil, the coal, the lumber, the money, the business ownership, whatever you consider is also a valuable resource and a valuable commodity on our planet, all the easier it is to get those things and to enjoy those things. And remember, this it goes like this. They say that wealth is not theirs who have it. Wealth is theirs who enjoy it. So keep in mind, whatever wealth you're developing in the area of people or material things, your ability to enjoy your wealth is, in my opinion, a very key thing. By the way, not only the current skills and abilities of people that you're tapping into as you develop your people skills, but what about all of the potential? What about the potential for people who have the ambitions to develop the medical wisdom and medical technology to extend our lives almost without limitation? This ability that is just perhaps just the very next phase, the next little renaissance that's on the way right now on planet Earth. What about the idea of space travel too, the more unlimited space travel? Again, it'll come from the people, comes from ambitions, imagination, interest, and passions of people. And what about an entire world where people are getting along better and all of the world's material resources are used in a way that best benefits the many? What about this? This also comes from people. And you're being able to tap into this resource called people your ability to coordinate the efforts of people, to organize people, and to get your vision recognized. All of these things will contribute toward a world that cooperates a little bit better, and where people have more fun, and where all of the wealth in the world is here for everybody to enjoy. By the way, I know some people who don't even have one person in their life that they can call a significant other, or somebody who they love very much or who loves them. And isn't that kind of interesting, in this world of 7 billion people, that they have not yet found even one person? I know a person who's been looking for a significant other for 10 years, and they don't have this person out of 7 billion people. Now, is the weakness in this the fact that there are too few people? Do they need to be 14 million or a billion or 114 billion before there are enough people so this person can find one significant other? Or is the weakness in the people skills of the person who's doing the looking? The people skills between them and other people, or them and themselves too. So again, the people skills as such a valuable investment. I know people that are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I used to be a taxi driver, and when I would drive people, how many people I would take to their dentist appointment or doctor appointment, or their foot doctor appointment, or to get their hair done, or even to take them grocery shopping. And you know why they called a taxi? And to have someone that they didn't even know in a strange car to take them just to do something very, to fill a basic need like picking up groceries. Because of all of their 60, 70, 80, 90 years of living, they did not even create even one friend who would be available at that particular time. I mean, they had some friends, but they certainly didn't have enough from which they could just pick up the phone and say, well, hey, I don't drive anymore because of my eyesight or whatever, but you want to go grocery shopping with me? Think how many friends a person could develop through a lifetime, such that when they are in their senior years, and maybe partially disabled or bad eyesight, or for whatever reason they cannot drive, think how many friends they could have who they could all go together with to do these simple things. Getting the appointment to get the hair done, the dentist appointment, the doctor appointment, the grocery shopping, etc. Think how fun it could be working in a coordinated effort. And yet, as a taxi driver, you know, how many of the trips that I would take people on all day long were elderly people, just one person going to see their doctor, then another taxi bringing them back again. And even the people that took them, I'm sure that they didn't develop much of a relationship with the driver. And then every time it was maybe a different person. Not that that's bad, but think about the joy and wonder and how one could build upon relationships and friendships by doing these things together and developing friends all life long. And again, the basis of this, I believe, is people skills. And of course, what is the foundation for people skills? The recognition of the value of people. Because whatever we recognize as value, those tend to be the skills, abilities, the training, the education that we tend to seek out. And so if you don't recognize people as much value, then you probably won't seek out those skills. So I recommend to seek out those skills. It is a worthy investment. By the way, I even picked up a woman once in the taxi cab, and she was on Memorial Day. Her husband had been a veteran. Well, she was going to the cemetery, just to visit where her husband's grave was. She had been a widow for maybe 10 or 15 years or so. So here again, of all the people she knew, here's a woman about 80 years old, did not even know enough people by that time, did not even have enough friends who could even take her to visit her husband's grave at the cemetery on Memorial Day. So she has to have a stranger, take her there, which is okay. But again, I'm thinking, where are people's people skills? And remember that you are a people. I am a people. So in developing people skills, this includes your ability to understand yourself, to know yourself, to better control yourself. Of all of the things we can do to help us live a better life, a longer life, a higher quality life, so much of it has to do with what kind of a lifestyle that we adopt. And this has to do with our self-knowledge, what works for us, and it has to do with our ability to access education from others as far as what constitutes a healthy life, a long life, things like this. And so your people skills, again, will help you to access the knowledge from other people that will help you live a better life. One of the ways I develop my people skills is by using a journal. I keep records of what worked, what didn't work, and then how to do it better, the next time. So I basically have three parts of my journal. One part is a section of things that worked, and the other I'm keeping record of things that did not work, because I can find patterns. I find that I tend to repeat a lot of the things. When you find, over the last month you did 100 things that didn't work and they were all the same thing, you tend to wake up a little bit. So things that work, things that didn't work, then to do. I use the journal as a launching pad for my to-do list, because when I can recognize the things that aren't working, the things that are working, when I can eliminate or mitigate or lessen some of the things that are not working and increase or enhance the things that are working, I now can create a to-do list that comes from this. Therefore, my to-do list, the actions I take in life, can be a little bit more in alignment with what makes me happier and what might help me get along with other people with less friction, with better cooperation, with better harmony. As you develop your people skills, a way to look at your relationships with people, I believe the best way is a win-win relationship, but go a little bit overboard on the win-win. Make it a 60-40, not a 50-50. In other words, 60%, 40%. Put in a little bit more effort than you're anticipating or expecting from the other person. You'll find that as you do this, your muscles for putting in a little bit more are going to be increased. It's going to be easy for you to do a little bit more. And remember that when we think about what we're giving and taking from others in this world, so much of it is not that we're taking from somebody or giving from ourselves to others. It's more like we're more of channels or conduits or messengers, and we're picking up things or relaying or transferring things. So the idea of giving more than you're getting, it's not that you're going to be all depleted and worn out and exhausted. You can give more than you get by being more aware of the resources around you and of the people around you who can also help you get what you need to give to this person, etc. So you can, it's easy to develop this 60-40 relationship. The more you work at it, the better you'll get at it. So my invitation to you is to look at the upcoming year of 2012 as a year where you're making the best investment you ever made. Right now, at the time of this talk, it's the month of December in the year 2011. And that's why I dress in winter clothes like this, as you can see. Well, 2012, give yourself the gift of an outstanding investment in the upcoming year. The investment in your people skills. Because I believe if you do this, read some books, take some classes, get some life coaching or some consulting or coaching in the area of increasing your people skills. It's my opinion that you'll have a lifetime of dividends, of benefits that will come from spending a focused year on developing your people skills. And don't stop at the end of that year. Keep it ongoing, because like any skill, as you develop the skill and as you make the skill grow year after year, so will the benefits, so will your capacity to get outstanding results. This will also increase, which makes life an expansive and very adventurous kind of experience. So keep developing people skills, and you'll find that this will benefit every part of your life. One thing too, as you learn better skills in dealing with people, don't be too attracted by fads or tricks or especially ways of manipulation or kind of covert control of people. I would say stay clear of all that. Go for fundamentals, time-proven basics of dealing with people. Books that have been around for 50 or 100 years. And that are still popular because they work. I would say stay away from the fads, because a lot of them deal with maybe specific aspects or issues. In order to become good at something and make it a lifelong success for yourself, you want to be building the success on time-proven principles. So seek out some of the best books, some of the better seminars, workshops, teachers, coaches you can find, and be determined to to develop your people skills based on fundamental principles of people skills. One way of finding this is pick up 10 books on people, on how to get along better with people, or how to be effective in managing people, whatever, and start looking in the table of contents. You do this with 10, 20, 30, 50 books on people skills, and you'll soon identify in the table of contents what chapters do all these guys have in common. You'll see, hey, these are the chapters they did not want to omit from their particular science of dealing with people. And those are particular ones to take note of. They're likely fundamentals, a principle. And go for books not only that were printed last year or 2 years ago or 5 years ago. Go over some of the most esteemed titles that even colleges and universities use, that have been in use for 50, 60, 70 years, because these generally have time-proven principles. By the way, sitting on this side of me is a grand piano, one of the loves of my life, and you know, it's by way of people skills that I've been able to improve my piano ability. See, there was a time that I had pain in my finger joints, pain in my elbows, wrists. I had lower back pain, all kinds of reasons whereby I did not want to play this piano. And but because of my ability to learn from people, I learned how to have a stronger body, learned about better vitamins and food supplements, and doing stretching exercises and building up the muscles around all the joints so that the joints didn't take on so much weight, etc. So I built up a strong back and a healthy hands, arms, upper body. I stand on my head every day for like 10 minutes. And boy, that builds up an upper body so that it helps your posture, all kinds of things. But I learned all these things from people. I asked them, hey, look, I'm having this problem. What do you know about how to deal with this? And it was by way of people that I learned how to much better improve my piano playing ability. By the way, what are some of the costs of neglecting your people skills? Well, when you think about how many relationships or business relationships end up in divorce, suing each other, catastrophe, or how many countries wind up in poor relations that wind up fighting each other, or at least constraining their economic relationships with each other. Think about the disasters and what the cost is of avoiding people skills. You know, it's coming up to the year 2012. Well, you know, almost 100 years ago, it was 1914, World War I. When you think about this, think about 100 years ago in the year 1912. You have 3 or 4 or 5 rulers in Europe that didn't get along. So because of their suspicion of each other and they're not getting along, they build up their armaments. They have all these money poured into getting the natural resources like steel and, all the things that had to do with building up big armies, building up industry. But because these 5 people didn't get along with each other, from the years of 1914 to 1918, you have like 10 or 15 million people who get killed in this war because 5 people didn't have people skills. Now, isn't that a tragedy? Well, think if you could go back in time into the year 1912 and think if you could become an influential person and really get people skills going with these 5 rulers of Europe that all got together and decided to have a war. What if you would have been able to avoid that? Think about saving 15 million lives. Then because World War I, as it ended, the people who even were resolving the war at the end of the war treaty, because they still didn't get along and didn't have the people skills that allowed for a long-term cooperation in Europe. 20 years later, there's another war, and this one takes not 15 million lives, but like 30 or 40 million lives. So you see, and it goes with this, maybe you've heard that every time history repeats itself, the price goes up. Think about the cost of the Second World War as opposed to the cost of the First World War in terms of the cost of human life. civilian life, and just the monetary cost of building all these things that just get destroyed. All the time, effort, and human life that gets completely wasted because of the ignorance of people skills. So I invite you to embrace people skills and see the great value. And here in this year upcoming of 2012, look upon the year 2014 as the beginning of the greatest renaissance ever on planet Earth. And I invite you to invite yourself to be one of the persons who will live by giving a good example of people skills, by getting along well with people, by valuing other people, and by having the mindset that the greatest resource on earth is not necessarily the gold, silver, money, and properties, but it is the 7 billion people on our planet. The combined efforts, energy, compassion, and love, and wisdom of 7 billion people. That is the greatest asset. And so in this year 2012 coming up, look upon your future as an ever-growing success by developing people skills. And I think that this is an outstanding investment you can make for yourself in this next coming year. Well, I want to thank you for listening to me, David Groninger, in Seattle, Washington, on a December day, wearing rather a summer shirt. And the title of this talk has been The World's Most Valuable Resource, How to Tap Into It. And it's my opinion that the most valuable resource is the 7 billion people on our planet. And therefore the most valuable skills that you can develop are people skills. And that is what you use to tap into this value. And remember, the people skills include the people other than you, and the people that is you also, because you and I are a person too who will benefit from this. So this is David Groninger saying thank you very much.